Yeah, I'm ready, baby.
What's going on, Lethal Collective on Friday nights? How you guys doing?
What's up? How's it going?
What's up?
Yeah,
the
man.
trifecta.
Doing good, doing good. Yeah, so we don't have Craven Something Scary with us tonight, but he will presumably return on Monday. But anyways, we're gonna forge ahead and see what we can do tonight.
Yes. All
All
four
right.
of us will be here at some point. We promise.
Yes, it will happen.
Sometime in the future.
Well, originally we thought to ourselves that was the advantage of having four of us because, we could usually have a majority of us be able to make, 2 times a week every week. So,
Yeah.
it's worked out okay.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. All right. So, hey, wanted to say hello to some of you guys. We got Nanette. We got Nicole, who's eating dinner with tater tots and falafel. All right. Wow. Holy moly. Sounds good. Jason's in the chat. What's up, Jason? Extron. Dino saying it's collective time. All right. Hey, I kind of like that.
It's more
It's morbid time.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Jeez.
Dude, that's the biggest dupe I've ever seen in my life. Dude, the meme community hyped Disney up so much that they re-released it. It only made $85,000.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
It's like movie history, the worst movie history ever. But I love it.
I wish I was in that boardroom and they were like, guys, listen. They want the movie back in theaters.
That's what all these memes are saying. Yes.
They have to have it. Have you seen the memes? Like, talk about completely not reading the room.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Right over their
Wow. Wow. All right. We got Val. We got Wayne. Nice to have you guys in here. Please remember to hit the like button. Denisha's in the chat. All right. RL's in the chat. Emily's in the chat. Castellar's in the chat.
Did you say R.L. Stein is in the chat?
Yes, R.L. Stein is in the chat.
Wow.
Right now.
No way.
No, just RL.
just RL. I'm like, no way. I fucking love Goosebumps.
We're getting a new Fear Street series.
Yeah. So is that confirmed? Because I heard there was like a rumor going around, but is that like actually
there are reports on it that the original director is coming back. They don't know if or I think it's a she is directing it. What is it?
Janik.
Dejanic or something like that.
Yeah.
They don't know if she's directing it anymore, but she's definitely a part of it. So executive producer, something along those lines. But yeah, apparently because I did a video on it on Fake Talks Films, apparently the Netflix, it didn't cost them a lot of money. Like, I guess they did it for like a shoestring budget, and it was like one of their most successful like type of series on their platform. So anytime that happens, you're gonna get more because it's like, oh, we don't have to pay a bunch of money, to make this happen, and therefore it's that. So plus there's like 51 Fear Street books or something like that from our
there's a bunch of them.
I know
they can keep telling those stories, man.
So they have like a treasure trove. Like, we could be 51 years into this.
Right?
Just every year for the next like 50 some years.
Yeah,
it'll never stop. It'll just keep going.
I mean, look at like Saw and stuff.
Hey! Don't look at Saw.
No, they're great. But I'm just saying, like, we're at like Saw 50.
Listen, man. my favorite Saw movie is the 6th one. That says something about a franchise.
Was a good one, wasn't it?
6 is so underrated. Like, man, the more I watch that,
believe it.
Yeah, the more I'm like, 6 is my favorite, man. Oh
my goodness. I saw it in the theater, man, and I was, I just was like, okay, this will probably be all right. I couldn't believe when I left. I was like, dude, this might be the best one yet. I mean, it was so damn good.
That ending with the syringes, with all the acid and all that, dude. Oh, I love that.
Damn. All right. Good call, man. Good call.
What do you guys think of the Spiral? Do you think, because they're supposed to be making another Spiral too, right?
I know. Wait, for real?
That's what I heard.
I don't think it's confirmed yet, but that's the plan. The plan is to make several, which I mean, the Spyro movie wasn't that great.
I think it had its moments.
It
had its moments. But
I'm not gonna lie, man. I was pretty impressed that I was able to follow Chris Rock through the movie. I mean, not that I didn't think he could pull it off, but I mean, I was actually fairly invested. I think it fell apart in a couple spots, but it, put it this way, it wasn't as bad as I was afraid it could be. I'll put it to you that way.
What if Will Smith is the next villain in the
Stop.
Spiral movie?
Stop it. You're
Chris
so
Rock's
wrong.
got to take down Will Smith.
Oh man,
dude, everyone would go
that's
see
horrible.
that though. Like even if you weren't
even
if you weren't a horror fan, you'd be like, oh, I have to see this. You know,
put your pride aside, put $100 million in your pocket, and make it happen. Like I would. I'd probably smack Will Smith on set and be like, now we're even. But you know, after that,
now we're even.
Now
You're
we're
just gonna go up to him and smack me like,
hell yeah.
now we're
Are you
even.
kidding me? If somebody smacked me like that, you get the shit. I don't care if I'm on TV or not. Like I'm good at holding my composure, but you don't put your hands on me. You can say, you can do whatever you want. Just don't put your hands on me. You smack me in the face. Like I'm not just gonna stand there and be like, wow.
Wow.
Like, even if you whoop my ass, at least you know that. At least you know I am not afraid of you. Like,
Yeah.
at least you get
All right.
smacked.
I gotcha.
And
You
then
should have
I'd
been
fall
up there
through
with
the
Chris
back.
Rock. Oh man. So, anyways, guys, what do we got? There's a lot of interesting news, obviously, with some of our big franchises and also different thoughts. Man, I do want to say this, and I want to pose this to you guys because I've had a lot of people in live streams and also in comments talking about just all the what's the word I want to use? The vitriol, you know, of the Scream fan base, and you know, everybody's one way or the other and so forth. I don't know if you guys have either had a lot of people talk to you on social or in your comments, but I've had a lot of people talking to me about it, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of too bad. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a tough time to be a Scream fan right now, I think, with everything going on. It's not good news, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing.
Right.
Like I think no matter what side you fall on, it's not good news for anybody that Neve Campbell's not going to be in the next film. Because like I said in my video, you know, I'm excited to see what the Scream franchise now is forced to do without her.
Yeah.
Like they have to write a good story or the movie's going to suck. I think they know that at this point, which excites me a little bit because it's like, okay, they actually had to put some time and effort into writing a good story, having a good movie. Now that has to be the case. Otherwise this is totally going to be a bomb. You're not going to be bringing people to the theater because Sidney Prescott's going to be in it. Because like, even if it sucked, if they had like Sidney, Dewey, Gale, Kirby, you bring back all these characters, people will see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have to rely on a good story that way. So now they have to. Let's see what comes out. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be a disaster? It's risky times for the Scream fandom. I'm excited to see what comes out in March.
Yeah, I mean, and just before I get to you, Fate, I mean, to me, it was almost like super pressure and like a fork in the road. Even if Neve Campbell was going to be in the movie, as far as, you know, if they do something that is really cool, it could propel the franchise into the future. Or if they did something that was very safe and kind of the same old, it could have literally, I don't know, man. I mean, at least for me as a fan, it would have made me start to lose a bit of faith, you know, in the franchise. So I thought it was like that even before we found out about Neve not joining. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure now. It really, really is. What do you think, Tyler?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jake. What were you saying?
I was going to say, also, after doing some research, I also found out that she's been making less money since like Scream 3, like with every single movie, which is like, this has been going on since all the way back then, which is like crazy to me. It's like, what? She's the face of the franchise and you're giving her less and less money. That's insane. I really think that this is something that has been a long time coming, and it, like, I know I'll get a bunch of comments from people saying like, well, you know, this is brand new news, Jake. Like they didn't have time to rewrite the script before going into production. I think this is something that's been going on for a while. Yeah, like honestly, I feel like Radio Silence. Yeah, no, this isn't new. This is something that has been a long time coming to get to this point, and Radio Silence probably knew about it, but they, like I said, they don't really have a hand in all this. They're not the money people. They're they're the directors. So, who knows what they had planned? Did they have something planned for this? Were they prepared for it? Did they have like, was there a bigger part for Sydney in Scream 6 or a smaller part? Could they just take her out? Like what's their plan now? What can they do to course correct? Do they need to course correct? There's so many questions we have as Scream fans right now, and it's definitely worrisome, but hopefully it's a good, I hope it's good. I'm still rooting for it. I love the Radio Silence guys so much. I hope it's good. And we really are going to miss Neve Campbell in Scream 6, I think.
I mean, success trumps everything. if this is a great movie and they execute it well and everything's good, I think things will be fine. I see a lot of people talking about, oh, this movie's going to flop, and this movie. No, it's not. You don't make $140 million.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely going to take a hit. I mean, it's definitely going to be not as successful as maybe that, but it's still going to make $100 million plus, because there's enough people that don't care. There's enough casual fans, and there's enough newer fans that just want to see what's going to happen. And then you got the people that are just curious. They're like, what is this film going to be like? So the film's going to be successful with or without. But like this whole situation, I just think at the end of the day was just handled terribly on all sides. I mean, even Neve Campbell, and I know a lot of people don't like talking negatively. The way to make that announcement was not at a convention. Like, I mean, she started this wildfire, and I love Neve Campbell, and she absolutely deserves to be paid more. But there's ways to handle it, and I get it. She's probably frustrated. She's probably pissed off. She probably felt, spited. But like, that's not the way to handle it, because now you look bad. The studio looks bad. Everyone looks bad. You divided the fandom. You got half the people that are like, Neve is just being greedy and this and that. And then you have this other side of the fandom that's like, I stand with Neve. And now there's all these petitions and all this stuff, And so there needs to be accountability on all fronts. It's not just Paramount. And yes, I understand Paramount should have paid her more. But there's things we got to keep in mind as a fact. I get she's the face of Scream, but Courtney Cox has always been the highest paid actress, and it's because she's always been the biggest star. I mean, Friends to this day is still a pop culture phenomenon. I mean, it's still one of the biggest shows and stuff like that. She's still a big name. So, of course, she's going to get paid more. I mean, Neve, I love Neve, but, like, what has she really done outside of Scream? Scream has built her just as much as she's built Scream, and, yes, she deserves all the credit. I wish we knew, and here's the biggest problem in my opinion, I wish we knew how much she was asking for, because that would make a lot of things so clear. Because reports are the studio wanted to pay her just under $2 million for 4 days of shooting. Let's say that's correct. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but let's say it's correct. If Neve was only asking for like $2.5 or $3 million, pay the woman, and you're gonna make that money tenfold. But if she's coming in and she's demanding $10 million and she's not the main focus and anything like that, then I understand why Paramount would say no. The problem is we don't know the details. So it's all just speculation, and everybody's just running wild with it. And last thing, and I know, Knight, you want to say something, but we got to stop blaming radio silence. I don't know where this shit came from.
Yeah,
like they're not writing the checks for fucking Neve Campbell and the rest of them. Like, radio silence is only producing; they're directing the movie. That's it. Like they're not even writing the movie. They're not doing any of this stuff. Like, their job is to be there. You think that they don't want Neve there? They're bigger fanboys than all of us. Like, I don't know where
these are the same guys that wrote a love letter to her, essentially, to be in the
and they were literally a trance watching her perform.
Like, dude, the amount of comments I got saying like, well, actually, radio silence is no, they're not. They have nothing to do with all of that. Like, it's insane. It's insane to me how misconstrued all that got. Unfortunately, so I really feel bad for them.
Directors have nothing to do with that, and nor should they. You know what I mean? They got enough on their plate to make sure they're directing a good fucking movie. You know what I mean? So I think the hate towards radio silence is totally unwarranted and not cool at all from the fan base. The other thing too, and Jake, I'm glad you brought that up, because I had read that too about her pay scale since Scream 3 and how the Weinsteins kind of, screwed them over, talking about, well, you're going to get, a back end on this. And then when everything, came out, they were like, well, we didn't make as much money as we thought we were going to make. So, forget about the back end. We'll get you next time. And so this is my opinion. Then I just want to read a couple comments too. This is my opinion. Based upon what we know of Neve Campbell. Now, anything is possible, right? Anything at all. To me, I'm assuming, based on everything we know from her, that whatever she asked for was in the realm of feasibility and not anything that was astronomically stupid. Okay, that's just a thought I have, right? But if you tack on the whole idea of what's been going on since Scream 3 and you're Neve Campbell, it's like, come on, man. I mean, and I think they just handled this the wrong way. And I agree, she shouldn't have necessarily put it out there like she did at the convention. But I gotta admit, man, if I'm at a convention and I'm getting the most people coming to me, I'm the highest, celebrity there, and everyone's talking about Scream and the franchise and my legacy, and I'm the Scream Queen and blah blah blah. She's a human being, man. I know I'd be feeling some kind of way too, and been like, you know what? Yeah, well, I know I'm not going to be in this one, and it sucks for the reason why. You know what I mean? So that might have been just that human moment for her, not to excuse it, but
absolutely. But
yeah,
I mean, even, but still, whether it's a human moment or not, and I understand that. And I mean, you know, we've all reacted out of emotion at a point in our life. Everyone does,
right?
But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be held accountable for that response. You know what I mean? Like that's my only thing is that, like, you know, she was, like I said, she was probably feeling spidey. She's probably pissed off. Ooh, this is actually a good point to talk about too.
Yeah. Carrie saying, sorry, but I'm throwing it out there. No one likes to say it because Neve is female and it's Hollywood. She's getting lowballed. It happens to females in the industry just saying it out loud. And it's very, very true. And she has spent a lot of time, her and Jamie Lee Curtis had this really, and I saw it, you know, this interview with Variety where they were talking about that. You got Jamie Lee Curtis talking about those issues for females in the industry. And of course, she's been around for 50 years in the industry or whatever. So I guess what I'm saying is that it really sucks that it happened, but I do feel bad for Neve in the sense that here you are, one of the biggest faces of this wonderful franchise, and you've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and now you're at a point where you're standing up for yourself more. You know what I'm saying? And it just didn't work out, and
I have no problem. I have no problems with her decision. I support, like I said, I support her 100%. She has the right to say and do whatever she wants. It's just a bad look how everything was handled is my biggest problem. And but here's the thing, like, look, in Hollywood, there is absolutely a payment discrepancy. Absolutely. But I don't think that's what this is with Scream, because Courtney has always been the highest paid actress. She got paid like $10 million for Scream 3 or whatever. She got $7 million for Scream 2. So it would be one thing, like, let's say David Arquette was the highest paid the highest paid on the Scream film. Then I can understand that argument. I don't think that's what this is here. I don't think they're looking at it as like Neve is a woman, so she's going to get paid less, like many studios in Hollywood do, and many people in Hollywood do. I think they're looking at it as, why would we pay you $10 million when you're not the main focus anymore? You're probably not going to be in the movie a bunch. Like, that's what I think this is. I don't think this is, because I've seen a lot of that too. That's why I think it's a really good point to talk about, because I get a lot of those, like, oh, this is just another woman. I even had somebody call me like a misogynist or something like that because I said, like, I don't think that's what this is. I acknowledged that it is a thing in Hollywood, but I said, I don't think that's what this is, because Courtney Cox, who is a woman, is the highest paid in the entire franchise. Like, she's constantly gets the highest salary. So I think that that's what that is. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
I'll let you go, Jake.
I think whatever Neve wants, they should pay her, man. I mean, like, whatever it is she's asking for, they should give it to her. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily think, like, yeah, she probably, like, there's been conflicting reports about, like, what her role was in Scream 6, about if it was bigger, if it was smaller. So that you really can't say one way or the other right now. But whatever it was, and if she was asking for more money, they should have just given it to her. I think personally, whatever it was. Much, I doubt she was asking for 10 million. Like, we're throwing crazy numbers out there. I doubt it was something like that. Like, if she had let's say she had a smaller part, okay, than even in Scream 5, like just a cameo appearance, she wanted like 5, 6, 7 million for that. I think that's totally reasonable, just because of how many people she herself is going to bring to the theaters. Now, without that, you have the fan base divided. You have people who are boycotting the movie, which I think is ridiculous. But it's a bad situation. And, like, yes, we should be outraged about what's going on with Neve Campbell. It fucking sucks. You can argue it's kind of sexist. There's a lot of things about it that's fucking terrible. But boycotting this movie is not the answer to that. By boycotting this movie, you're now not supporting a bunch of other amazing actresses and actors and performers and directors, writers. Those people are now going to suffer just because of this one situation. I think it's fucked up what happened to Neve Campbell, and they should correct it if they still have time to, if they still can. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. We're probably just going to have to write this off as a negative, which is why I've been trying to say that for such a while now. It's like, let's try to make this negative into a positive by going in a different direction with the story. We don't have Neve Campbell here anymore. We can't make it a Sydney story. Let's focus on these new characters. Let's try to build them up to legacy character status, which I don't think is that crazy of a thing to say. I feel like with another movie that focuses on them, we can really accomplish that. But we just gotta see in March, man. I hope they wrote a tight script, something really solid, shocking, good reveals, good kills, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing though. Is it sexist when Courtney Cox is the high, like, because here's the thing. Are we looking at this as like a female didn't get paid enough, so therefore it equates to all the other instances, or is this an isolated incident? Again, like, I don't think, like, so many people are throwing around like, oh, it's sexist. If she was a man, she would have gotten paid more. All these things. We don't know that because Courtney Cox has been the highest paid actress, or has been the highest paid actor, period. She's been the highest paid in every single Scream movie.
But also the reason for that though is that you can't deny the impact of Friends. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm
the
saying.
star power element of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is she almost gets a free pass because it's like you can't, man or woman, you can't deny that Friends was one of the greatest or the biggest shows on
most
TV.
successful.
Most successful. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm just playing devil's advocate with this point, but I'm just saying. So to me, Courtney Cox doesn't really count one way or the other for good or for bad because it's like she had that armor of, hey, I'm on one of the biggest shows of all time, so of course I'm going to get my money regardless of whether I'm a woman or a man. But I think that with Neve, like I said, man, I don't know, man. It's so frustrating.
It's tough. There's a lot going on. You know, there's a lot. It's a complicated situation.
Yeah, but after '96, she was the most paid behind Courtney Cox. So again, it's never been a sexist thing. Like, and that's what I'm saying. The reason I'm talking about this, I want to bring it up, is because, like, not every circumstance, not every instance, we just throw around sexism and that's racism and that's this and that's that. We throw it around so freely whenever there's a circumstance, but we don't look at the entire scope of things. If Neve was super underpaid the entire franchise, then yeah, I can understand that. But she wasn't. She was just underpaid compared to Courtney Cox. But what has Neve Campbell done besides Scream? She hasn't done anything major in 20 years. She's been in like little cameo roles and like things like what was that, Skyscraper and stuff, and like she's not a big star. Like, that's the thing. Like, Scream, yes, us Scream fans, we look at her as like she's this icon, but she's really a C-lister in Hollywood. I mean, how much money is she gonna get? We're not talking a Marvel movie with, you know, Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. and
this is like her franchise, though. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's an argument to be made about, like, yeah, you know, Courtney Cox she's awesome and I love her in this franchise, but it's not necessarily her franchise opposed to Neve's, if that makes sense. Maybe that's once again maybe controversial to say again, but I feel like if there's any faces of this franchise, it's Sidney Prescott and Ghostface. Like, that is what brings people to these movies. Those are the characters we're excited to see have unveiled. Like, who is Ghostface in this movie? Who's Sidney Prescott going to go up against next? That's it's like Ash with the Deadites in Evil Dead. What if they were only paying like Ash $2 million to be Bruce Campbell to be in the next Evil Dead theoretically? Like, people would be pissed about that. It's the same thing. I just think that if no matter what her role was in this film, she's a really valuable asset to these movies. Whether it came out of sexism, if it came out of like star power, wherever it came from, it doesn't matter. It was wrong. They should have just given her the money she wanted, despite her the capacity of her role. I just think, to me, she's so important. She's so important to this franchise. She brings people to these movies. She's also talked in interviews about how, like, what the character represents to so many wonderful people out there. That's about true. Like overcoming trauma. That's why she doesn't want to die. It would kind of ruin all the momentum that all 5 of these movies have with the character. I think that's a big draw to her, and I really don't. I just hope they don't write her as dead or something. They can really fuck this up.
I think that you want to talk about, like, we talked about
that would create a firestorm.
No, that would be studio, you know what?
Well, here's my thing too on that too, Jake, is that I think that's one cool thing about her as a quote unquote final girl, you know, or the lone survivor, whatever you want to call her, is that she's had a really fantastic arc.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, seriously, from Scream 1, let's at least go to 4. Let's just say 4. I know in 5 she didn't do much, but she still did some things.
Yeah, there's a lot with her character, though, you know, the family and all that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, some people that are really, really hard on Scream 5. I liked Scream 5. I know we all enjoyed it, but we know it had some missteps, but I still enjoyed it, and I still enjoyed her in it. But what a fantastic character arc for her, to see her grow, you know, throughout those movies. And I guess what I'm saying, and Crystal brought up a point about we were saying a month ago that the same formula was getting boring. How many times can we see Sydney get chased? Now we can't have a Scream without her. Let's see a Sydney less Scream. See what a Sydney less Scream does. My whole thing was, yes, the formula, it does get old, right? But I'm not saying that we have to have Sydney out of the movie. If they execute a good story, which is going to be, I'm going to always be wondering what were they planning to do with her in it. I'm hopeful. I don't know, but I'm hopeful that it was a really interesting story and hopefully something a little bit different. But regardless of all that, she's an iconic character. So, like you said, it's just sad to see her go through this. And the reason why, like if Neve Campbell said, I don't want to be in Scream 6 because I just don't want to, or had schedule conflicts, or she didn't like the script, I'd be perfectly fine with it. But if it's because of how she felt, and she used the words, she felt as though she wasn't shown the value that she thinks she has for the franchise, not just for Scream 6, for the franchise. Because remember, and I'm going to be seeing her in August. Hopefully I can get a hug, because I'm serious. Because to me, I mean, she's an icon. It's just like Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in every Halloween movie, but to me, she's one of those faces of Halloween, just like Michael Myers. So I just feel bad for how this situation has happened. That's my biggest regret with this situation.
Oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, like, I couldn't agree more, Knight. Like, and with you, Crystal, too. I totally agree with both of you guys, because I feel like yeah, I'm pissed about the situation. I'm pissed about how it was handled, but at the same time, I'm interested to see where Scream goes now. Like I was saying earlier, like I'm like, what are they gonna do now that they can't rely on that? Like, they can't rely on a Sydney story to bring people in. Where does it go? Like, what happens now? It's exciting. It makes me nervous. It's a weird mixture of emotions, and I'm kind of excited to see what we get in March. It could be the greatest sequel ever, or maybe the worst. I feel like it might be that extreme at this point, honestly, but we'll just have to see.
So like I 100% agree that they should have paid. I mean, unless it was some ridiculous number, but like if it was in the range of 5 million or less, I think you pay her. I do, because you're going to make that money tenfold by her being in it.
Right.
Like, so I don't understand. If it was like 10 million or something like that, then I understand. Like, that's a third of your budget for a character that's only going to be in the movie for, let's say at most 20 minutes. She was only in the movie 18 minutes, I think, in Scream 5. So like, let's say it's the same thing. Like, then yeah, I understand the studio saying, nah, like, hard pass, thank you. But if it was like, if you're talking a couple $1 million, pull it out of your pocket and put it in. But one thing to kind of push back is, you got to keep in mind too, is that say they did renegotiate a contract and they did pay her $7 million. She's not the main focus anymore. Let's say it is just for 4 days of filming and it is a cameo scene, right? Now you have the rest of the characters going, well, I need more money. Like, what if Melissa Barrera's agent's like, we're going to get you more? That's the thing that people don't understand, is that an extra 1 or 2 million could turn into an extra 10 to 15 million, because now everyone wants to renegotiate the contracts because their agents are responsible for that. And so that's something people are not taking into account. Everyone's like, why didn't they just pay Neve? I agree. You should have behind closed doors said, hey, tell you what, we'll pay you. It's undisclosed. Here you go. And she's happy. But now that it's out in the open, there is no way that they can up her pay. There's no way that they can get her back in, because if they do, now you open up the floodgates for all these other actresses. Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega is skyrocketing right now. You don't think her agent's going to go, oh, well, guess what? Of course he is. Like, that's just how it works. The agent's job is to get the most money for the client and put the most money in their pocket. So there is a big thing that goes into just giving her extra money. It's how it works. But when it comes to the movie itself, I do agree that, like, this is going to be a really good test, and we're going to see how this shapes up and unfolds and what it's going to be. And it's what I've talked about for months. Like, Scream 6 is the best opportunity to not have Neve Campbell in it, because you'll get to know one way or the other. Now, it puts a lot of pressure on the writing team and Radio Silence, but if they can deliver, great. Now you know a Scream can be successful without Sydney, and now you can continue your franchise. Now, if it's not, which I do think the bridge is kind of burnt, but money talks. Let's say Scream 6 doesn't work. Well, now you're going to Neve Campbell and you're like, hey, we'll give you $15 million to come on and do this last film. Yeah. Guess what? She's not going to turn down that money. She might feel spite, but all of a sudden you'll see the reports where it's like, you know, me and Paramount, we're good friends again, and you know, life is good. And you know what? It was just a bump in the road in our friendship. Like, it's just
I think to me is like the worst case scenario that could happen at this point. Like, I feel like, let's say this movie sucks. Like, Scream 6 comes out, people fucking hate it. It's like, it doesn't get reviewed very well. It's like, I would, and then that happens. Like, that to me shows that these writers and directors can't write a good story on their own without legacy characters bringing people to the movie.
Theaters.
Because to the theater. Because overall, if you look at the last film, the structure of it was just Scream 96 modernized. That's the big, like, the whole plot of it is basically the exact same thing. You have the boyfriend killer, you have similar plot beats, you have a fountain scene, you have a garage scene that happens in Stu's magical basement that we didn't know about until this film. There's so many little plot beats that are repeated in the new film. They have to do something else. They have to do something different. They have to show us that they can write a good original Scream movie, because even watching the behind the scenes, that last film, it was just like, oh yeah, when we didn't know what to do, we were just like, what would Wes Craven do? Let's just do that. And they probably put on the movie and watched it. Listen, no diss towards Radio Silence.
Nicole, what did I say that was an assumption? If you're talking about the contracts opening the floodgates, that's not an assumption. That's a fact. Like, I mean, will it happen? Yeah, I don't know. But the idea of opening the floodgates, that would happen. Like, does it mean that the agents and the actors and actresses wouldn't just accept it and say, okay, let's move on? Yeah, of course. But you're opening the floodgates. That's not assumptions. That's a fact. You just renegotiated somebody's contract. So guess what? That means now you can allow me to renegotiate. Like, and any good agent is going to do that. Any good agent is going to do that. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just saying. I think now they have an opportunity to either like I said, like I feel like maybe before this news, it wasn't as crazy. Like I was still thinking, okay, Scream 6 is an important movie. Let's see what Radio Silence can bring to the table without mimicking someone else's style. But now it's all on the line. It is all on the. You don't have Neve Campbell. You don't have you have one legacy character basically coming back, and Kirby too. So sure, those people will bring people to the theater, of course. But it's not gonna. There's still this division in the fan base of people who probably won't even go see it, probably won't support it, will probably just say it's shit no matter what the movie is. That you have that group of people now. You have to tell a good story. You have to have a good slasher movie under your belt. Otherwise, this is going to bomb. And then what you were saying, Tyler, will happen next. Well, let's say this movie bombs, okay? Now they're going to run the money truck up to Neve Campbell's door, be like, here you go, whatever you want. Here's $20 million, just be in the next movie, which I know sounds ridiculous, but probably something they'll do out of panic to give her a crazy amount of money like that, which is probably the game that's going on right now behind the scenes. Who knows? It's all assumptions. It's all speculation. Then let's say that happens for Scream 7. Now they have worked themselves into a corner with how shit the last movie was, and then they just bring in legacy characters to be like, hey, we're here, come see the movie. And then that film will probably suck too. So I really hope that's not the case. I have a lot of faith in Radio Silence, though. I really don't think that's gonna happen. It's something I've unfortunately seen happen with other franchises, something I'm really worried about with the new Jurassic World. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm concerned about it. I don't have the highest hopes for the new film, but I'm still excited for it. I still think that there's a chance Scream 6 could be one of the better sequels. I really think that's a possibility.
It could, yeah. I mean, it could be something that's very, very fresh. They really could do something that we haven't seen before, and that's what I'm hoping for, is the creativity. The creativity to me is one of the things I'm looking forward to or hoping for the most, because again, like we talked about, these other movies have been so similar, and obviously without having Neve in it, you can do those types of things. Like you should do those types of things. Like, can you imagine? And not that I don't think this will happen either, Jake. But could you imagine if they really play it safe and this is like a carbon copy? Like that would suck worse because Neve is not in it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hope they just make a sharp left and do something different. But everything that's happening right now is exactly why I wanted them to just clean break. Start Scream 5 fresh. The problem is you did this fan film, you brought back all the legacy characters, you did all this shit, and now look. Now you have this dilemma at hand that would have been completely avoided if you just started with your new characters, developed them properly. Problem is Scream 5 did a shit job of developing their new characters. Now, hopefully, because you don't have Neve, You don't have David. Maybe now you have that time to properly develop them, but it's just. Why is Faith the only hashtag?
What?
Because I'm the man. That's why. Because I am the
he is the decided. Like, why would we even use hashtags for anything else?
Yeah, who else would deserve it?
But no, I think that she made me lose my.
He's messed up.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. One thing, Jacqueline. So help me God. If there's a scene in the Scream 6 trailer where we see Sam stabbing somebody and it's like you can see their hair, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I am too, man. Because the debacle that was the Scream 5 trailer, and you guys know I was going off on it all day long. It's like, how could they show all of that shit? Like, seriously, they did so well with the marketing in every other sense of the word. Yeah. Except for that trailer, man. Giving away stuff. I just can't believe it. All you had to do
was just crop it down.
Just crop it, baby.
Yeah. Just crop it a little higher. And
cut it like a millisecond earlier, too. You would have been fine.
That was the problem with most of the stuff they gave away. It was like, if you just cut that scene like a tenth of a second earlier, you wouldn't have revealed anything. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, they did a fantastic job with marketing. I have a lot of hope for Scream 6. I really think it's going to be great.
What's up, Steven?
I think, what's going on, Craven?
What up?
Run into the bathroom. Jump on. Let's do it.
Run into the bathroom.
Screw them kids. Get in here.
Get in here. But yeah, I do. I'm excited for it. I agree with you. Like, I hope they don't go complete, like, let's just remake Scream 2 or let's just make another Scream movie. Like, hopefully now you don't have.
We don't need none of that meta shit. We're being meta about Scream 2. Yeah. We already saw Scream 2.
We don't need that.
Let that be its own thing. Just do your new thing right now. Continue the story with the core 4. You got Kirby in there. You got Gale. Let's see what's up now. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't need to see anything that's reminiscent of any other Scream film. I mean, other than obviously we have an opening thing going on and we have some type of reveals, maybe with the S on the end. That'd be kind of cool. Other than that, I don't need anything that reminds me of the other movies.
The whole point of this film should be we're not looking at things from the past. Maybe even the characters could make like a joke about that, where it's like, oh, the killers are probably someone from the past, but it's not. Like, it has literally nothing to do with that. Like, I just don't think it's important anymore. Like, there was moments where it served the story in like Screams 1 through 3 to go back, but now do your own thing. Like, start your own story. Tell new stories with Ghostface and brand new characters. It's something that I cannot believe by the 6th entry of a franchise we haven't really gotten, which is, it's strange. It's crazy. I don't know.
That's a
weird
good point, man, because, you know, with a lot of other horror franchises, even horror franchises that are not held in as high regard as Scream, one thing you can say is that they tried to do some different things by the time they got to the 6th entry. Even if it didn't work very well, and I'm talking about you, Freddy's Dead. But even if it didn't, but at least you tried to do something different. You know what I mean? At least
great
you tried
graphics.
To do something different. That's what
no! I love that movie. Oh my God. It's so bad, but I've seen like that honest to God, that's probably the nightmare movie I've seen the most, which I'm so embarrassed by that. But I don't know. There's something about, like, there's some draw to that movie where it's just like, this is horrible, but I can't stop watching.
And I got 2 words why. Robert Englund. I mean, he is still watching. Shit, man, I used to love watching him on Freddy's Nightmares on some of the stupidest episodes when he would just do his little thing in the beginning of it. Yeah. That was good enough for me as a little kid, you know, so it's okay, man.
I like, that's the thing that I've always talked about, is that, like, you know, put me in a position where I can defend you. Yeah. You know, like, change it up. Like, even if I don't like, even if it's terrible and we don't like it, at least we can say, hey, they tried something different. It just didn't work. They didn't have Neve. They didn't have anything. At least they could.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, but if you just make another Scream movie without Neve and it's terrible, how can we stick up for you as a fandom? How can I, as a creator, get on here and defend you and stick up for the film when it's like, yeah, you didn't have Neve. It was the same movie. It sucked. Like, how do I do it? At least if you do something different, I could be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Neve wasn't in it. It didn't hit very well. But did you see this kill? Did you see this go? I mean, there's definitely roots here that they can expand on and really make, you know, get it right the next one. Like, put me in a position to defend you. Another thing that I think is interesting. Do you guys think that they kill Courtney Cox in this movie? Do you think, like, I know we kind of touched on it last time, but Knight wasn't here, and I want to hear Knight's thoughts. Because I don't think they will. I think now that Nev's not in it, I think that it makes more sense to keep her alive. But, like, I even made a video today, and I dove into it. Like,
I saw you.
The thing is that, like, Courtney would probably be okay with dying if you have her in your corner, you know, because if you just kill her and she's like, I didn't want, like David Arquette, like what happened with David, you're fucked. But if you do it in a sense of like, you know, where Courtney's like, hey, I wanted to be killed in Scream 4. I didn't want to be written off. I wanted to be killed because I didn't want any possibility of me coming back. So she works with Radio Silence. They make a statement after the movie and you're good. Now you're right there. Not just that, but it'd give the Radio Silence a clean break from all three. If the movie's great, now you can get ahead of it. Now, we talked about it on Monday, but you weren't here, Knight, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, you know, obviously, if they execute it in the right way, maybe I could be on board with it. But I'm just going to go with my gut and say I don't want them to kill Gale. I really don't, because then we're faulting. I know I keep saying this, and me and Craven were talking about this the other night too on his live stream, but I just don't want to go down the Star Wars road. I just don't. And maybe that's just because as a Star Wars fan, I'm still, you know, a little salty about how they did the OG characters. So that's probably true. So I just want to give basis on where I'm coming from. But I just don't want to see them kill her. I really don't. Maybe it would work. And I do agree. The upside of it is to get the clean break, right? Because obviously, if Neve is gone and if she's
Sydney
not
has her
coming back,
happy ending. Sydney has her happy ending. David's dead.
Right.
David was Gale's happy ending.
That's
right.
right.
You know, he's gone. It's that Romeo and Juliet story.
Yes.
Maybe even Gale dies in the heroic manner like Dewey would. You know, running into the fire, save Sam and Tara, ends up dying in the process.
But I just, I mean, and I get it. And I get it. Some of those things could be kind of cool, you know, the tragic romantic thing going on or this or that. And yes, there is a part of me that can see it. You know what I'm saying? I can see that at the end of the tunnel. But again, I just go back to the fact of, do we have to always kill off legacy characters in these long-standing franchises? Because we do it in so many, like, I can't think of a franchise where you have a long-standing franchise where the hero or the final survivor or whatever hasn't been killed. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Terminator or Alien or, you know, Nightmare, you know, it's just like, dude, can we just let some people live? Like, just let her go off and do her TV show and just do her own thing, and let's just move on with the characters we have. I'm assuming you want her to die.
I don't necessarily want her to die. I just think it makes sense. Like, okay. I've talked about on several occasions that I think Gale Weathers makes the most sense to continue this franchise. Like, Sydney's hard. You have to actually like tie it in. You have to, like, Gale, we know, like, Ghostface, she's there, right? I mean, even Scream 5, her producers thought it'd be great coverage. Figure out the story. It's great for ratings, all that stuff. Like, so she has a built-in inherent reason to always be there. And, you know, whether that's the best reason or not, still, at least it's a believable explanation to keep her involved. So I think it would make sense to have Courtney in these movies as long as possible. Not just that, but you have the most, like, now you have that one constant, right? You have that one OG. I do think it would be probably more beneficial than not. I just look at it as like, it would be a clean break. You likely have Courtney in your corner because she's wanted to die before. Like, Sydney is that, like you talked about, what franchises had a character survive everything? You have Sydney Prescott. Sydney Prescott's living life with her family. They make that known in Scream 6. Sydney is the one survivor. Gale dies, but she does it in like a Dewey-esque way.
Right. Oh, whoa, hold on. Jen, I wanted Gale to die in 5 because I knew one of the OGs would die, and I thought it should have been Gale. But obviously it wasn't. So now that Dewey's already gone, all I'm saying is that I just don't want to see an OG die in each movie. You know, we saw Judy die, we saw Dewey die, and now the next movie Gale dies, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but you could kill Gale and keep Kirby.
There's another thing about all this though that I feel like we're forgetting. Like, listen, I want Scream to be more brutal. Like, I want the kills to be a little more extreme. Sure. But another aspect of this that you can't compromise with about Scream that I think is so really well developed, you can't really say this about any other slasher franchise, is the beloved characters, the character development, the good time kind of vibe you get by the time the movie actually ends. Like, if we start getting too mean with these movies, I feel like they won't work, and you're gonna lose that aspect of what's so great about like the feel good. Like I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends when I watch these movies kind of vibe, which I think all 5 of the movies do really well. But if they start doing that, like you were saying, Knight, where it's like they just keep killing legacy characters every single movie, it's gonna completely ruin that, I think. And yes, I want a more brutal Scream movie, but you don't have to ruin that aspect of it to accomplish that. You can give us more brutal kills, but then also give us these really fun character moments where it's like really goofy and silly and a good time. You can accomplish both things, I think. I think it's very, very possible.
Yeah.
Knight, do you think that now that Neve's not in this movie, do you think that basically completely rules out Stu returning?
I don't think it totally rules out Stu returning. And I've thought about this, whether I thought the percentage goes up in his favor or down, because you still have the connection, you know, the whole Billy Loomis connection with Sam, and also if they come up with something different for the story. But I don't think it totally rules it out. Why? Do you think it does?
Yeah, I do.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, unless Scream 7, they just get so desperate, they're like, and let's say Neve does it. Let's say they try to throw 20 million at her and it doesn't work. And they get that desperate, so it's like, okay, well, let's just bring back a bunch of, which I think would be a terrible thing. I think even Stu fans would hate that because now you're not doing it within the frame of the story. You're doing. I think even Craven would hate that as much as big as he is on Stu. But I just think the whole idea of Stu returning, and of course you can make a believable story. I'm not saying that it wouldn't make sense to bring him back, but I'm saying the big end game would be that Sydney Stu showdown, that full circle moment where they just are going head to head. I just think without that, it's gone. Not just that, but since everybody's coming out in Neve's defense, I think that burns the bridge for Matthew Lillard, don't you? Like if Neve doesn't return, you really think Matthew Lillard, after everything he said, after he signed the petition to get her back, after all those things, you really think he's going to say, yeah, I'm going to come back as Stu and spite? Like, I don't think he could, even if he wanted to, because you know everybody's going to be talking about that. Oh, you were all big to defend Neve, but now you're willing to return when they throw money at you? Like, I think Stu, the idea of Stu is gone. That's it. Like, because unless they can reconcile with Neve, but at that point, you're talking Scream 7. Are you just going to plug Stu in? I think the idea of Stu returning is gone. I think that's it.
What do you think, Jake?
I think now I'm like, me personally, I would love to see Stu come back just because I feel like it wouldn't, like, if it's, here's the thing. If you tried to randomly set up a Sydney story in the middle of a new trilogy where it's like all about new characters and then the last movie's all about Sydney versus Stu, that is just horrible planning. That is an absolutely atrocious idea. But now that you don't have Sydney attached to this film, and let's say let's say Radio Silence theoretically does a whole trilogy, a 5, 6, 7. Now you can bring Stu back. You can comment on like horror films that bring back old characters, and like you can make fun of that a little bit. You can be a little silly. I think you can totally bring back Stu now. Even I feel like it makes even more sense because it's not going to just fall into the same story patterns we've seen in the past with, oh, I'm back to seek revenge against Sidney Prescott. You can have a whole movie about like, oh, I'm trying to end the Loomis bloodline with Stu or something. And honestly, I don't hate that. The only reason I say that is because I think it would be kind of cool if they used Stu to both do a motive like that and to also comment on the idea of bringing back old characters and how it can get like muddy. It like doesn't make sense. They could utilize it to do this awesome commentary on the state of legacy sequels, requels, all that shit. I think I actually feel like it's actually a pretty damn good tool in their pocket right now. If things flop with 6,
yeah, but could Matthew Lillard come back? Like, wouldn't that make him look terrible?
I don't think it would.
You're saying you're putting all these statements out there, and then they throw money at you.
It all goes back to the fact that it's not Radio Silence doing all that. Like I feel like
Paramount's still writing his check.
Yeah, but
and he just
they're not writing the movie.
Paramount.
It's a 50-50 relationship, I think, with the creative team and the money people. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, that it is 50-50. You might view it as, well, they have the money, they couldn't make the movie without them, but you also can look at it as, well, without the creative team, you can't. You don't have a money. You don't have a movie. You just have money. So I think that if they really want to bring back Stu, and because of how excited and enthusiastic Matthew Lillard has been about the franchise up until this point, I think he would totally come back if they gave him money and they were like, yeah, sure, and then like, let's say things are better with Neve Campbell in a year. Who knows? Anything's possible.
That's what I think would have to happen.
That's true too.
You have to reconcile with Neve. I think if the Neve thing never gets resolved, and we're just in this, let's say it even never gets addressed. I think you burnt the bridge with Jamie Kennedy. I think you burnt the bridge. I mean, Jamie Kennedy did like an hour-long video just ranting about the whole thing, So you have him, Matthew Lillard, Ski, all of them are all sticking up and defending her as they should. They should defend her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that, but I just think if you're Matthew Lillard, you can't return. Yeah, radio silence has nothing to do with it, but radio silence, again, how we talked about, radio silence isn't writing the checks. Radio silence isn't the one that's paying him. Paramount would be. And Paramount is the one that destroyed the relationship with Neve Campbell. So it's like,
there's also it's all about money at the end of the day for the studio. That's the thing. Right. So like, let's say just one thing. I'm so sorry. No. But one thing. Let's say they bring Kirby back for this film, and it's the talk. Like, this movie makes $150 million. People are like, oh, we fucking love Kirby. This is awesome. Now the studio's looking at that like, oh, we brought legacy characters from the past who are still alive. Let's do that again for the next film. They implement that into the writing process for 7, and I'm sure they're thinking about Stu a little bit. Like, I honestly wouldn't rule it out and I know, to some people it's completely silly and ridiculous. He had a TV dropped on his head. There's been no mention of him in the past like 25 plus years now in the timeline. So I see that angle. But if they want to bring him back to comment, I think it's entirely possible. It could totally happen. It's all about where they want to go with the story, though, I think, more than anything. And because of go ahead, sorry.
No, go finish. No, go finish.
I was just gonna say, I'm like, I really think that because of this movie could make so much more money than the last one, even because of the legacy like with these new legacy characters, I guess is what I'm saying. If they realize it's like, oh, it's not just about one character in particular, it's about bringing characters back from the past, they might go that route. It might not result in a good product, but it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, no, and I was gonna say I agree with that, because the idea, first of all, we don't know for sure, but we do know that they are fans of Stu as a character, and they are very high on Matthew Lillard, and obviously Matthew Lillard has had some connections to these movies, or to this movie, to Scream 5 and so forth. So that could have been something that they already had planned, or maybe were at least thinking about, and so forth and so forth. So this could have opened the door for that to happen even, faster, maybe. We don't know. But I definitely think it's possible that he still could come back. I think it's very possible, actually, because now if Neve doesn't come back, you've got that hole. You know what I'm saying? And they understand the fan base. They know that if he comes back, this is going to turn things around in such a big way. Even if it's with the people that aren't big on it, it's going to create conversation. So I definitely think he could come back, even though Neve Campbell won't be in Scream 6. And of course, we don't know. She might be in Scream 7.
Matthew Lillard a hypocrite?
I don't think it makes him a hypocrite,
because I want him back.
Let me ask you that. That'd be like if me and you work at the same company, right? Yeah. And you're supposed to be getting a raise, and you deserve that raise, and you don't get it with the higher ups, right? Like at my job, I've got 5 levels of bosses, right? And the people that handle the raises, they're like 3 levels above even my boss. But so you don't get the money that you deserve, and I'm like, no, man, Fate should have gotten that raise, so forth and so forth. But then when it's time for my review, and they say, well, hey, we're going to give you so and so, I'm not going to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to take it. This is livelihood. This is work.
That's a terrible. So a better analogy would be like, if I'm working at a company, you don't work at the company. I work at the company. They spite me by not paying me enough. I leave the company, and you come in and take my spot, because that's what Matthew. If Stu,
he won't be taking her spot.
Also, by that logic, wouldn't that make him hypocritical for just going to conventions and being like, "Hey, I was in Scream. I love this."
No, because Neve goes to conventions, and Scream is more than just Paramount. Paramount just got into this original.
It's Paramount's thing now, though. You know what I mean? So you're still going to support it, even though there's something you don't like
so you're not
going on behind the scenes.
Scream 96 ever again because Paramount spit on Neve? No, like that's ridiculous. I'm saying like the point is that Matthew Lillard has been defending, just as Jamie Kennedy, just as everyone else has been defending Neve Campbell and saying that they spited him, right? Or that they spited her. And then you're going to go and she's not going to be in the movie and you're going to go and take if Stu is in the movie, the reason they're bringing him back is because there's no Sidney Prescott. So of course he's taking her spot because that's the draw. That's the allure. That's what
unless they already planned to have him be a part of either 6 or 7.
Even if they did, that means Sidney likely tied into the role, though.
Well,
we don't know that.
Maybe, but we don't know that. But here's the other thing too, and not to get into a big Stu thing, and I do want to make one quick announcement for Craven, something scary. But look, as soon as Kirby was announced that she was in this movie, to me, the percentage chance for Stu to return went up. It didn't go down, in my opinion. That's just as a fan. So I don't think it would necessarily be, I wouldn't call it hypocritical of him to be a part of the movie, because again, like I said, it's just like at work. I think that's, I don't know. I think that's I
got a better example. The thing that happened to Craven, right? I won't get into it because I don't want to put people on blast, but you know what I'm talking about with the video, Craven's video and the certain someone that was going at him. That would be like me, how we all stuck up for Craven and we sent message, we talked it out, all that stuff, right? That would be like me now going to those people and bringing them on and being best friends and pretending like you don't think Craven would look at it as like I thought we were a team, man. Like they just
but that's a little bit different, man. Paramount and Matthew Lillard aren't friends. It's a business.
Sidney Prescott, but that would be business. If I brought them on, that would be business. I'm making money off of it. It's the same thing. It's me making money. It's me trying to grow the channel. It's me, collaborating with these people. You don't think Craven would look at it as like, oh, like if that happened to you and I was like, yeah, Knight, that's great, but I'm bringing, Jake on after you guys had this big spew and you just relayed that you felt you weren't valued and made all these big statements in regards to Paramount. And then I bring Jake on and I'm like, hey, Jake, how you doing? Everything's good. Yeah, buddy. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, and I pretend like nothing happened. You telling me you wouldn't look at me like, damn, like.
I think you can. I just think it's different, dude. It's different because I feel like you can.
Because you're talking about personal stuff with that conversation with us. With these are professional actors, and they realize they're so far removed from Paramount and these studio heads. They understand the game. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying that it's not possible that maybe Neve would be like, oh, well, that sucks that Matthew joined it. I'm not saying that's totally out of the realm of any possibility at all. But I also would bet that she'd also be like, look, this is a business. He's got to do what he's got to do for himself. And at the end of the day, this isn't the only thing I'm doing. I'm most well known for this, but this isn't the only thing that I've ever done or will ever do, presumably, in acting. You know what I mean? So I think there's two different situations.
Totally okay. She might totally be okay with it, but it's still a bad look. Like just because, like even if let's say you and Jake had a falling out, and you were like, "Hey, dude, it's totally fine. Yeah, bring Jake on." Like all that stuff. It's still a bad look, knowing that I'm associated with you. I'm associated with the Night Watch Zone, as Matthew Lillard and Neve are associated with Scream, and now I'm sticking up for Jake, and I'm being boys with Jake and all that stuff. It's just a bad look for them, especially if I came out and was like, yeah, Jake, like that. Jake's a scumbag. Like what he said to Knight and all this stuff. I hate his face. Oh, I got horror friends.
What a fucking idiot. He's been waiting to get to that point of the rant all night. He's been waiting to get all that out.
Like, how can I turn around the bed to get to that point so I can just throw it out there? I've been waiting.
His stupid greasy forehead. God.
Let's go.
No, but
all right, hold on.
But on a serious note, it'd be like me defending Unite and then coming out. It's just a bad look. And you're going to have fans. You're going to have audience members. You're going to have people looking at that as like, how did you stick up for Neve and now you're doing a Scream movie without her? Now, if they reconcile and everything's good, and maybe this is a whole ruse. Maybe we're talking Spider-Man. I don't think it is, but let's say it is. Right, and at the end of the movie, Neve shows up, right? And then, yes, I think all is right. But I think at this point, based on the information we know, I don't think Matthew Lillard can come back after everything. Like, he's publicly stated that, you know, he's Team Neve, he's all this, he wants her to get paid more.
So is David Arquette, but he's also talking about like, oh fuck, I'd love to do a Scream video game. I just talked about that in a video today. Like, I mean, they're not done with the franchise just because
he said he wanted a Scream movie or a game like the core, like from the people that made the core.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he wants to be a part of it. He just said he'd love to see a Scream movie.
He also said man, I don't know. I don't think that him doing a Scream movie would be a bad look for him. I just feel like it's totally different things. Like it's not personal. It's studio, it's business, and they're speaking out against it because it's wrong. But it's I don't know, man. I feel like it's a totally different situation.
Did Neve not make it personal? Of course she made it personal. She leaked it at a convention to fans, and then came out and talked about how she felt about it. That's personal. It wasn't like she came out and said, "Hey, it was a business decision. It didn't work out. I'm really sorry." No, she blasted them and told all the people at the convention. It became a huge thing. It became a big news, and that's personal for her. She took it personal. And so now you have all these people defending her personally. Like, that's not the same thing as like a business decision. Like, it'd be like if they just amicably like they didn't come to an agreement. She said, you know what, I understand. She gave an announcement like, hey, you know what, I'm moving on, career. You know, we weren't able to come to an agreement, but it's all good. It's going to be a great movie. Then yes, now it's a business decision. Everything's good. She didn't take it personally, but she took it personally. Like, so now now all your friends are going to come out and like, you don't think she's going to feel a little, even if she's okay with it. Like I said, she may be totally fine with it. She might be like, yeah, dude, go do that. I love that. I'll be the first one to buy a ticket, but it's just still a bad look. Like, that's my point. Like, and you don't think the internet and all of the magazines and all the gossip and stuff, you don't think they're gonna run with that?
You could say that about anybody, man. You could like if you went back,
Courtney Cox.
I know you could say that about.
She was already signed on before.
I mean, dude, if you do enough research, you can find something that someone said in like 2007 that contradicts something they're doing today. Like you can figure that, you can find out anything about any celebrity right now who is doing something that is totally contradictory to something they said in the past. Yeah, I don't think that's. Like my point is, by the time Scream 7 comes out, this will be a thing of the past. All of this, like, no one will be talking about this at that point.
It will. I don't think if it's not that far. You're not talking 10 years from now. Scream. They'll make the announcement likely in March or April for Scream 7. Like, you don't think people are gonna rehash that and bring that up if Stu is back in the movie? Like, it's not like
I don't think it's going to be that big of it. I mean, I think there's so many other factors. It's not like he's just going like it's not the same thing as going over to like you have two buddies, one of them's fighting the other one. You start hanging out with both of them at different times, and they're pissed at you about it. This is a business operate. You know what I mean? This is like an operation. This is they're trying to make money. It's just I don't know. I just feel like it's different. Pop-Tarts are wonderful.
Every time they pop out, I'm like, yay, Pop-Tarts.
You're like, what the heck? It popped out? Yeah.
Do it again.
Real quick before because I know we got to wind down for you, Jake, but
yeah.
I just wanted to say, because obviously Steven's not with us tonight, but he gave me this really cool thumbnail image just to put this up and remind folks that on June the 18th, 9:30 p.m. Central Time, it's The People versus Stu Macher, which is going to be a really cool live stream. And I'm really excited to not only see it, but I'm also going to be a part of it. And just wanted to have you guys be aware of that. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching are, but definitely come and hang out with us because it should be very, very interesting. And some of the things that we talked about tonight may or may not be touched upon. And that's all I'm going to say. Just a quick little tease, but definitely go over to Crave Is Something Scary and check the link and put it on your calendars. It's going to be a lot of fun on June 18th. So
hell yeah. I also find it very impressive that we went on a whole Stu rant without Craven.
Without him. Yes.
How crazy is that?
He's probably sitting back at home at the party and just kind of like, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Good.
I eat Pop-Tarts raw too.
You raw dog your Pop-Tarts, Carrie? Damn.
Yeah, you got a raw dog a Pop-Tart.
I live on the edge.
Nothing's like raw dog at a Pop-Tart.
Oh, man.
Man.
All right, man. No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say something, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that on a stream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna say it. No.
Jen is not a fan of Pop-Tarts, so yeah.
Oh, the blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
Pop-Tarts are delicious. You can't get like the Ralph's brand or whatever, the Kroger brand. You got to get the real Pop-Tarts.
What the hell? What?
Because I know a lot of people that don't like Pop-Tarts but they've never actually bought in the Pop-Tart brand. So I'm just throwing that out there. Like you got to actually get like the Pop-Tart brand.
Do you eat the Pop-Tart with or without the shell?
What is going on?
I like to spread it open and then just lick it, you know.
I get excited sometimes and I just bite through the packaging, you know. I just can't help it, you know.
Wow, going primitive. You're going old school. Sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger eating your Pop-Tarts.
Come on.
I'm here with my Pop-Tart.
No. He throws the Pop-Tart with the foil in the toaster.
Yeah. You guys don't do that?
Oh, really?
It cooks it better.
It really
keeps everything locked in. Keeps the flavor locked in.
You don't eat your Pop-Tart back?
Yeah. Oh my God. Get out now.
I will say one more thing before we get off this stream. I'm about to eat the spiciest hot wings I could find in the tri-state area on a live stream over on my page. If you guys want to check that out, I'm doing it tonight. Cool. Right, 10 minutes. Let's go.
Oh, okay. So how long are you going to be going for?
I'm only going for an hour and a half because, dude, I touched my tongue to one of them. Like I literally just touched my tongue to it a minute ago, and I'm like, whoo. Damn, it's bad. I got a gallon of milk sitting here ready to go. We're going. We're doing this thing. Right. So check it out.
So you're starting at 7:30 or like in 10 minutes? Okay. I'll try to jump in because I'm going to be going on at 8:30, I think. So, but I'll jump in and because I want to see that.
Like I said, not going to be a long stream, so check it out while you can. Yeah, I might cry, I might puke. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? So God. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, anyways, for you guys that have joined us on this wonderful episode, and it was really fun to do this. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Definitely get ready to head over to Jake's channel in 10 minutes, and then. Fade, are you going to be on tonight? Streaming late tonight?
No. I need to get on stream, and I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks.
Damn,
I've just been swamped trying to get my my sports channel blew up. So I'm trying to get that monetized. I'm at 658 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to that channel, go subscribe to that channel. It means a ton. I have a direct link on my thing. I'd love to get that monetized. And I was looking at like CPM and stuff for that type of channel. It should be good. So I really am like trying to get that monetized. So
nice, very cool.
We'll get back to the normal stream and stuff. Plus, work is starting to lighten up a bit, so I should have more time to start streaming again. It's just been a crazy couple weeks.
Very cool. All right, well, then obviously we'll look out for you when you come back on. And anyways, I'll be on at 8:30. So if you guys want to pop by and swing by and say hi too, then that's perfectly fine too. Carrie saying Jake be eating hot wings, right?
It's gonna be fun.
Go to Jake's channel and give lots of super chats. There you go, Jen.
Thanks.
All right. Keep him eating for 4 hours. Wow, you want to kill the guy? Wow. All right.
Hey, listen, man. The super chats are rolling in.
It's the type of support you'd like, right?
Yeah, I can always call and get more wings. Okay, no. Okay.
I thought your mother's I could always get a new heart or something.
Who needs organs? Who needs a stomach? Okay, yeah.
Play the sad music. In the arms of an angel.
Oh, Jesus.
As Jake's dying, just
trying to get through the wings. Oh my God.
Wow. All right. Okay. Anyways, guys, we will catch you guys later. Take it easy. And the collective is spoken. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.